to ask for your permission. That's when I learned that this is in fact, sisters and brothers, if I may call you that, a fight to save lives. This is a movement to save lives. And this is not a movement to figure out how is it that we are going to pay so that every man and woman in this country can have health care. This is not a movement to figure out what is the policy that is necessary so that we can in fact persuade people to pass the necessary legislation. This is a movement that's about saving lives, so we do not have to ask permission from anybody, because this is a matter of life and death. And this is in fact so clear, because if Canada can pay for it, if the United Kingdom can pay for it, if Argentina can pay for it, if Mexico can pay for it, why can the wealthiest nation of the face of the earth not pay for healthcare for all its citizens? But you and I know that that will take building a powerful, vibrant, multiracial movement, and why not say militant movement, because in fact this has to do with putting an end to my sons and daughters dying, to my neighbors dying, to my families dying, to people dying. This is a movement to save lives. A lot of action that dramatizes the story that we heard from Julie and we heard from Susan. And we need many more stories from Julie and Susan across the nation, because if there is something that brings the point home, it's the story about the choice between life and death. And tell me if there is nothing more clear than the story about life and death. You tell me. So I don't want to hear any more debates about what is the right policy and what is the correct financing formula. Countries that are less wealthy than ours have figured out ways to pay for it, because they understand that this is in fact a matter of life and death. And this will require a militant movement, because I submit to you, when I heard Julie and Susan's story, I didn't feel sorry. I felt rightful indignation, and I felt rage, and I felt rage, and I felt rage. You know why? You know why? Because why is a human being subjected to having to make a choice between living or dying in a place that has such incredible wealth, where there is an ecstasy of corruption taking place in the highest spheres of government, led by the very fellow who happens to be the inhabitant of the White House? That is why he went to my homeland, and the only thing that he could think of doing was throwing paper towels to the people who were the victims. Can you imagine what compassion does this fellow have? Absolutely none. Could this fellow lead us in a way that would deliver health care for everyone in the wealthiest nation on the face of the earth? Absolutely not. This will be won in the streets. This will be won in the voting booth beginning this November when this election. But if I learned an important lesson back in the 1960s, when I came here at the peak of the fight against the war in Indochina, in this place called Vietnam, transformational change only happens when tens of thousands of men and women are engaged, when they demonstrate their rage and their indignation, and they say, I have had enough! I have had enough! Because in this planet where I happen to live, called New York City, a young woman, not even 30 years old, in the borough of Queens, defeated a 10-year incumbent who was poised to be the next Speaker of the House. And she happens to be a comrade of mine in this organization called Democratic Socialists of America. And some people call her a rock star, others call her a celebrity. She just wants to be known as the voice for working families and immigrants and the most vulnerable. And she will join your Congresswoman that spoke here in building a powerful block of voices in Congress. But she will need, and your congressman will need this show of strength, this show of indignation, this hurricane that actually wipes all this conformity, shall we call it, of people who think that this is the way things have to be. And you and I know that this is not the way things have to be. And we learned it from this wonderful leader whose name to you is Cesar Chavez. To me was Cesar Chavez, who taught us to do something whenever we will be afraid. And I'm going to ask you to do it with me now. I'm going to ask you to stand up with me, to stand up with me, to stand up with me. Please stand up with me. And he taught us to do, sí, sí, sí.